Suste, everybody. Welcome to the Robin in Cambodia podcast. Today I am joined with Thul. Thul is the co-founder of KOOMPI, a Cambodian branded laptop with an operating system created in Cambodia. VitaminAir, a reforestation pilot project powered by the technology with the aim to live in nature. SmallWorld Micro VC firm and venture builder based in Cambodia that work with talented individuals to start up new projects. And Selendra, a nominated multi-chain proof of stake system built out of Cambodia.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Rithy.
You speak a lot better than me about the project.
Let's start in with KOOMPI,
Okay.
a Cambodian branded laptop. Can you go more into that? Like, why decide to make your own laptop versus buy a Mac or buy a Windows laptop?
Yeah. In the original sense, we didn't want to build a laptop. We just want to refurbish the old laptop that was made by Dell, Asus, or others. But most of those laptops were created for a specific version of Windows, Microsoft Windows OS. So for me, around 2013, 2014, customized Linux operating system, an open source base, basically not the same as Microsoft. It's a different type. For those who do not know much about computer, but for those who are in the computer, they would know what is Linux and what it's used for. And I foresee back then that one day Linux operating system will be more useful as a desktop operating system, like on the computer, laptops, and other case. As we see that all smartphone, both iOS and Android, are based on Linux or open source based on the Linux or Unix family. So in 2013, 2014, there was some student that want to use a computer that came to SmallWorld. I did not want to buy new computers, and at the time there were so many friends of mine in Phnom Penh. They want to give me some computer for students that are coming to SmallWorld. So I don't want the student to use old slow computer. The old computer not necessarily slow, but the old computer with old operating system or like untight, unclean up can be very slow. So I wipe out the Windows and then add Linux customized by me and my mentor and my team, my friends at SmallWorld, and then give the student to use. Then we realized that we should do more. So we then posted on Yahoo forum, every kind of forum that we have.
What year is this?
I think 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Then people give us shitloads of like hardware, like laptops, microphone, telephone, desktop, monitor.
From all over the world or Cambodia?
No, Cambodia, just Phnom Penh.
Okay, cool.
Within like less than 6 months, I have 2 full room just for old computer.
Nice.
And then we like refurbish some old laptop and then try to put the OS on. At the time, there was no name. It was just like Linux. And then we start to name like Butterfly OS, Money OS, whatever OS we can think of. And the problem was that this is when we thought we should have a laptop. The problem was that most of those computers built for Microsoft specific version, so every time I need to install my OS into this old computer, I spend between 1 day to 4 days, an average about 3 days to make it all work. Like it may be able to install, but maybe the network card doesn't work, not recognized. The keyboard not recognized. So I have to plug in an external keyboard and try to fix what's the problem. And so it take a long time. So I discussed with my mentor, should we build a different OS for a different laptop? And then we tried that, and it was just like nightmare, because how can you build 10 different software to fit within 10 different hardware? And then we think the opposite, like what if we build one software, like one OS, that could just install in one hardware? And that was how Apple does its Mac OS with MacBook. And then I thought, how can we do that? Because we don't have the money. And then I went to ask Bong Silla, the Sabai CEO. He used to open a Sabai PC, and I asked what the problem, why he stopped. I want him to actually run my OS and restart Sabai PC, but he didn't. He was not interested, and I don't know what happened. He just didn't want to do. That was around August 2013.
Is that like a computer cafe or what?
It's a
open PC.
No, it's a laptop. Basically like KOOMPI, but
So
10
he
years.
made his own laptop.
Yeah, in 2009, 2010.
Whoa.
Yeah, called Sabai PC.
Sabai PC.
Supposed to be like a PC game, but it was too early. The laptop was not made fast enough, or like, and China was not as good as now. So he listed out so many problems, but we were cycling together at night around like 7 p.m. and we discussed about that. So then I got the idea, like, if he doesn't do it, I might just do it. So then I keep improving on the project, and then only in 2016 I start to get more serious. Like, I think this is something I really want to do, because most of the students that pick up the computer that I install and run the OS, they never come back and ask me like, can I use Microsoft Word? They just go and use like web browser, Chrome, Firefox, Google Drive, Google Docs.
Can I ask something? With the Sabai PC, did it have its own operating system as well?
It has what's at the time called Moon OS, designed by another guy named Rithy, like me, younger than me, but he started out this Moon OS
In Cambodia. He's Cambodian as well?
Yeah, he's Cambodian as well. And I was there, but I designed my OS just for me. And he designed the OS and then distributed for other people. And then Sabai took the OS, Moon OS, with Sabai PC. And then that was the first computer ever that would be branded by Cambodian company. And the OS made by Cambodian. Cool. So we are not the first, but hopefully we should be the last. We should last very long.
So with KOOMPI OS, how different is it from the standard free Ubuntu or Linux? How much did you How much did you change from that?
So there are not much difference between KOOMPI and Ubuntu. Besides that, Ubuntu come out as called KOOMPI adopt an options or model where we can call it rolling release. So you don't have to, like, every 6 months or every 2 years you have to abandon the versions and then start a new version, basically like upgrade a new version. You can upgrade anytime. OS, the app, the application, the package, all the way up to date. If you want to update, you can get updated whenever you want, just with the internet connection. Nice. That's called rolling release. And Ubuntu doesn't have that. But I just read the news that Ubuntu is now moving to rolling release. Yeah, and there are a bunch of other OS that we base on. The current OS that we base on is based on Arch Linux, but we are trying to build the separate core OS. So KOOMPI doesn't have only one OS. Now we have a few. We have KOOMPI OS for the desktop, for the laptop and desktop, and then KOOMPI OS for lab, like lab OS. We experiment with KOOMPI OS with a smartphone, which is this one. Oh, nice. The only phone in the world right now that run KOOMPI OS, but still supported by like Google service. If we don't use Google service, we have to build a different kind of service that's not really connected to you and me. So it's difficult. So we have a bunch of OS that we're testing.
So I haven't tested it out yet, but is it in Khmer?
It is in English by default, because I believe that Cambodia now is the member of ASEAN, and as we are a member of ASEAN, we should be able to prepare ourselves for like international communication.
Right.
And technology does not tie us to just Khmer. And to translate, I'm all for promoting Khmer language and all of that, but to translate technical, borrow computer term to Khmer is like, I don't know how to translate. But there are, if you want to translate, there's community translation, where you can translate the whole interface into Khmer. Just some missing, sometimes you don't understand what it means, like a mouse. What it translates to, it's like a condol, or It's difficult to translate, but it is usable for those who already like familiar with the Khmer term. So to come back and conclude the questions, after we install, it takes too much time to install into the old computer. We decided to think of a way to build a particular hardware or just collect only one type of hardware, one type of laptop for one type of system. And the easiest way is to actually build one new that's specifically for that particular OS. So then I decided to fly to Shenzhen and study the computer world.
Was that your first time going there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Alone.
So you went there on a mission. You're like, I
have no idea where I was. I have no idea how to communicate with people. I talked to some people on through WeChat. Factory. They say they're a factory, but when I show up, they're not a factory. So I had to figure out myself. Like it's been 2 years, 2016, 2017, and by the mid 2018, then we have KOOMPI made.
What do you mean they weren't a factory? You went there and they were like
so many layers. You don't know which one is a factory. They say they're a factory, but actually they hired a factory to do their thing, and then they actually do not know the computer itself. They just sell whatever they can sell.
Middleman.
Make money. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had to figure out and then find my way into the factory, and then when we got into the factory, doing business with those guys, they're not bad people. They just like do the business the Chinese way, and so I need to sometime like be an asshole with my brothers and three of my friends that go there.
Nice.
So we have to learn how to identify when they lie and when they're actually like speaking the truth.
Shoot, damn.
Yeah. They can say like yes, that's fine, and then if you don't follow up, they show up the same. They don't do anything.
Damn.
Yeah, and so it was like my brother and another person, Sang, I think you know him, and Panya, a few guys that went there, and I go there sometime, stay there 3 months to really like work on and on with them.
Can you go more into like how much were you planning to make? Because I know like with factories, you got to make a lot before they're like, yeah, we'll do your thing.
Yeah, I use Cambodia as a leverage, and the OS that we have as a leverage. What we do is pretty new. They said minimum production is 2,000 pieces, and I said if I can have a sample, then test, and then we see if it's worked very well, then we can decide on what to do next. So we plan to do like 1,000 to 2,000 pieces, as this is the least amount they can do. So that was like 2,000, but then we make 1,000 first because I don't know whether we can sell 1,000.
Right.
It's quite a big new journey for me, like from doing basically just running around and simple thing, and now we start to do like manufacturing. Like we have to understand the process from. They tell us from this all the way to the final. It's like learning, like go to a university, but you have only 2 months to finish.
Wow.
We need to know what is like firmware and how to deploy, how to work with the firmware, and all of that. I didn't do it myself. At the time, Sang was doing it, and then there was a guy from Zimbabwe was joining in the early day for a few, I think 6 months.
Cool.
So that's what we had, and somehow it's keep on evolving, and then COVID hit.
Oh wait, so from
2013 all the way to 2017, it's all about research and development and testing.
Just going back and forth. Wow.
But I didn't go to the factory until then. And then 2016, I started to learn about factory stuff. And then by 2017, I got like about a year later, then I found a factory. So when I found a factory, there are like a few factories. Some I don't know which one is like when you find a business partner, you need to know who is actually the decision maker. Then have to decide which factory to work with, and are they reliable, and are they going to cheat on me and all of that. They still cheat on me. After we study all of that, then we start to decide, like, okay, if we do not do the production, then we will not know what it's like. So we do the productions. And when I say we, most of the time I had to like make decision on my own to do it or to not. And then my team would just, okay, let's do it, and do it. And then, in 2018, early 2018, then we start to do the production. Around early 2018, the news start to go out about KOOMPI, and then the real big news came out around June in 2018. So the process was like 2 years before.
Yeah. But did you get a working sample before you were like, okay, let's produce?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you were happy with that sample?
We had a sample about almost a year, and then tested a lot of sample. It's like a lot of. It's not a perfect thing. I wish someday we will have our own manufacturing, collecting every component that we need, build from like zero to completion. That would be like the perfect product that we can build, or we know how to build. But this will take a lot of money and also a lot of effort, and so many more people that know how to do this. And I think maybe 10 years from now might be possible if we train. Right now we have more students from Cambodia that know about KOOMPI, and some students in the countryside like in Takao or in Kanda province learn the difference between open source and closed source system, and what KOOMPI bring to them, what the open source bring to them, and hopefully some of them will stick around with open source and maybe go to engineering school, manufacturing school. Then we might have enough resources in 10 years.
That's a good dream.
I don't know if it is a good dream, but it's a dream anyway. Yeah.
So 2018,
Yeah.
you start production.
Yeah, and then release in October 2018.
And how was that received with Cambodia?
At the first stage, it was like surprising. I was expecting about 400 people or less, and then because we did the opening ceremony or opening hall during bar camp.
Was this the E11 or E13?
E13.
So the cheapest one or the
more expensive one.
Okay.
Yeah,
but did you produce it at the same time or?
The E13 is only one before, and the E11 is
after.
late, like a year later,
All right.
a year and a half later.
And what was the price of the E13?
E13's price at $360. Yeah, and E11 is $160.
Nice.
Yeah, around that. The receive was quite astonished. I was not prepared. There was, I don't know how many people, but it was full of, the whole hall was full. It's like going to a concert. I was preparing to just go and talk about KOOMPI and introducing KOOMPI to a small crowd of people, like 200 to 400 people.
Yeah.
And then maybe around like 4,000 people show up.
Whoa.
Yeah, maybe 4,000. I don't remember the number, but it's just like a lot of people walking in.
Yeah.
And we were not prepared. But at the time, we were leveraging on a community event called Bar Camp. So Bar Camp happening 10 years before that. So Bar Camp happening every year, and then every year it get more and more people interested in technology.
Nice.
And then KOOMPI released during that Bar Camp event in 2018. That was a coincidence.
Did you have like all your stock there? Like, you could buy one right now.
No, we didn't have that. We did an introduction of a pre-sale where people can buy and then receive it. I think a month or two later. Oh, I think we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had already, and we already sold I think 300 to 400 computer before even the launching. But we did not deliver yet.
So like pre-registered, they're like,
Yeah.
I confirm to buy one.
Yeah, not just confirm, they paid upfront.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we have like 300 people. I don't remember the number, but maybe like 300 to 400 people that paid upfront in the discount $30 something.
Nice.
And then some people choose to not take the $30, but pay it forward to organizations or NGO that they want to. For their trust and their support, we don't make as much profit, and then we take the profit that we make and then send it to the NGO, and then the leftover from there we sell at the market price that we set.
So let's fast forward to today. Now you've got KOOMPI Pro, KOOMPI Mini Station, KOOMPI Monitor. You're expanding quite a bit.
Yeah, exploring the options and see which one is actually more receptive in the community. The KOOMPI Mini and the KOOMPI Station, or KOOMPI Mini and the KOOMPI Station, is typically like similar thing. The laptop is good for branding. We have like 80% receptive, like good reception from the community, and then some other people have some issue with that because they were expecting low cost computer with Microsoft working on, like Microsoft in it. Yeah. But when running Microsoft on the KOOMPI, because the hardware is a lower spec, it built for operating open source. So when they install Microsoft, it keep running more stuff that we don't know, and then it makes computer very slow. But some people has no problem. Some people have some problem. It may be because our first editions, we have to know, we have to learn more about, but have to build it better. The KOOMPI Pro is the answer to some people that asking whether we do the higher performance computer, and so we decided to test that out. It's still not released yet. We still test a lot of things because the one that we are having now, it's not 100% work fully with our software. So we need to take something out and put some new component in to see if it's work well, like fingerprints, touchpad, network card, and a bunch of other things that we don't quite like. Yeah.
I've seen some pretty crazy specs on there. Ryzen 979 something.
Yeah.
128 gigabytes of RAM possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, are you testing that model out?
Yeah. It is right now in Phnom Penh.
Shit, 128 gigabytes of RAM.
No. We don't put 128 gigabyte because we don't need to. I mean, unless you do so many other things. Right now, the RAM that we use is, I believe it's 16 and 32.
Okay.
Yeah, it's enough. It's like it's more than enough. Even if I run Selendra blockchain software, it's just like, I don't know, like 20-30% of the CPU, and it doesn't use much RAM.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess this is a good segue to Selendra then. So Selendra, how did that start? Selendra, by the way, is a Polkadot.
It's a Polkadot sample, but it's not a clone. It's built from scratch using Polkadot, similar code base, but same framework called Substrate. So we use Substrate, which Polkadot founders and the company called Parity created Substrate, and then open source to all blockchain developer. And as anyone in the world to develop a new blockchain system, it's a very difficult task. Like you need to spend lots of times, many work hours, PhD level, because there's so many things have to go through there. It's like you have to be a Satoshi in order to build a new blockchain. And we are not a Satoshi, so we use the framework that has component that already ready to be made into blockchain network. But regardless, you have to know some of the blockchain token economic system, fees, and a bunch of other things. Yeah. So we use frameworks like Polkadot, Substrate, to then build Selendra with the custom logic where we have a stable fee that tie to the native token of 100,000 transaction. When I say stable, it's not completely like static. It's around 100,000 transaction per cell token. The gas fee is hidden behind the scene, but when we issue the support of EVMs or Ethereum virtual machine, then there's some gas fee combined. But still, the transaction on the main chain, relay chain that we call, is still 100,000 transaction per Selendra token. So we can sum up Selendra as a nominated proof of stake system built with substrate Polkadot with custom business logic and token economic of its own. At the same time, when there is a possibility, when after we onboard many millions of users, hopefully, then 2-3 years from now, we would like to become a Polkadot parachain, which is a parallel blockchain to Polkadot that will leverage many features that Polkadot is providing to a broader audience. But at the same time, Selendra can run as a standalone blockchain. At the same time, offer an opportunity for other enterprise, even government, to run a parallel blockchain that will be able to connect to Selendra. And then Selendra teams can build bridge to connect to other blockchains like Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, even Polkadot itself, and even Bitcoin.
Nice.
So that these small enterprise or this enterprise, bigger one, like even the bank too, can run their own blockchain for their own purpose, for their own use, and then connect to Selendra whenever they need. And then Selendra will allow them as a sideway to connect, sideway or like a bridge for them to go to open blockchain like Ethereum and Binance.
Nice. Okay. Let's timeline it. 2008, Bitcoin white paper released. And then Ethereum around what year?
2014.
2014.
2016, Ethereum released to public.
Okay. And then Selendra is
Selendra
20. When was the idea just like an idea in your brain?
The idea was when after Ethereum release, I read the paper. I read Ethereum paper, and I thought like, wow, strange concept. It's called smart contract, and I have a lot of lawyer friends. Like people, I have a lot of friends as a lawyer, right? And then I thought, well, if there's a smart contract, then we need a lawyer. And technically, generally, I don't like paperwork. I don't like lawyer. Yeah. Although I have a lot of friends as lawyer, it captured my imagination. It's like maybe someday we don't need more we don't need as many as lawyer as we have now, and so we will go to smart contract. And then more people start to talk about smart contract, and then this called the decentralized autonomous organizations introduced in around April or something in 2016, and then the first decentralized autonomous organization called DAO raised $168 million. That was the reason for Ethereum fork, from Ethereum to Ethereum Classic. This was the first time of any decentralized autonomous organization that hold $168 million. But then they got into this because they were the first one. They made some mistake. They had a suicide code injected by a hacker, and so that was the reason. If you notice or read about history of Ethereum, at one point in 2016 in June there was a fork. Vitalik decided to fork Ethereum and then repay back the fund to the investor, Ethereum back to investor. So they raised fund with the Ethereum token. That was the idea that that kicked off the ICO and STO and this fundraising project using crypto. Yeah. So I was there and I owned some Ethereums, and then suddenly I was given another kind of Ethereum called Ethereum Classic. So it was like I have free money. So I participate in some DAO also, and there's a lot of loss in there. Like if you have Ethereum, you then buy the DAO, and then suddenly the DAO was forked, and then your fund was frozen, and there's so many mess in there. So then fast forward around end of 2016, I was thinking about like I want to build something in the blockchain, but I'm alone cannot do. then I start to exploring with people and try to. In 2016, I hire 13 team, like young people. They are 16 years old, 17, 20 years old together. So it was 13 people at SmallWorld. I called the fellowship of the SmallWorld at the time, like inspired by Lord of the Ring. And I had some Bitcoin at the time, and they were, some of them now, when we meet and we talk, at the time I was paying them in Bitcoin, but they didn't receive. I put too much money, not too much, I put most of my money in Bitcoin and crypto. So I don't have cash. So when they need money in terms of salary, like at the time I can only pay them $150 to $200 to $250. So $150 in that time it was like $400 in Bitcoin, like per Bitcoin. So if they have $150 or $200, it's like half a Bitcoin. So I would say that, can I give you a Bitcoin sum like $50? Like if you get 150, how about $50 in dollar and then $100 in Bitcoin? Because then it's easy for me because I couldn't sell any Bitcoin.
Right.
So that was the idea in 2016, and then we had some exploration about like real coins and real chains, but it didn't really. It was hard. We didn't know how to build unless we fork like Ethereum and start Cambodian Ethereum. Like what is the reason why we should fork Ethereum and like rename it to Khmer Ethereum? I don't like that idea. So
right.
Better to just invest in Ethereum and learn how to write smart contract and run on Ethereum. But then the resource was so little, and not many people know how to write smart contract, and even the global space, not many people know how to do so. So it's difficult to actually do everything there. And then 2017 craze come up. We were busy like trading and OTC crypto instead of building the blockchain itself. And then 2018, I was like, okay, let's just explore, learn how to build a dApp on Stellar or dApp on Ethereum if we need to, and then maybe from there we will see something. Then around 2019, I came across Ethereum founder was like fork out to do their own thing. Vitalik still do Ethereum. Govern would do parities and work with support Ethereum, but others at the same time he was starting something else like Polkadot. And then another Ethereum start consensus, another founders, ADA, Cardano. Cardano, they do Cardano, and then I was like, yeah, so maybe not just one or two blockchain. It could be many blockchain.
Yeah.
And then when we look at the history of the internet and how we come to have, like the internet is like blockchain, and then the website is like blockchain application. Like Selendra is one of the website. Polkadot is one of the website. Could be bigger website. Yeah. Polkadot could be like Amazon, for example, and then Ethereum could be like Google, so on and so forth. So many blockchain could be doing their own thing. Some overlap, some not. So if we also build another blockchain that would be enforce or push forward for the internet of blockchain, that would be the new era, utopia of the crypto space or blockchain space. So then in 2019, late 2019, I started to present the idea to the team. Why don't we build our blockchain ourselves, but using this framework called Substrate? So around 2019, November or so, we start to look at that. But they released Substrate way before that, like about almost a year before that, or more than that, maybe late 18 or early 19, and then we start to build Polkadot Substrate this way. And then 2020 we released Selendra testnet and learn how the thing work. And then 2021 we then released the white paper after we test the technologies and then see what the feasibility of the app and the dApp that can be built on Selendra and how to connect back to the public blockchain. So that here we are now after 2021.
Nice. I had one question about Selendra. So when you were building Selendra, what specifically were you like, okay, we're going to take this framework, but in terms of it working, for it to work in Cambodia, we must change this and that. What were those things that you added or removed? Or
It was not much about like Cambodia. You know, everyone that use blockchain will be using blockchain in almost like a global term, a global need, not specifically for Cambodia. But then when you come to a real use, there will be some tweak in the app. But the blockchain platform itself doesn't have to be tweaking very much. All I wanted to do was I studied the blockchain out there. For example, Ethereum doesn't have max supply, meaning that Ethereum will have as many Ethereum as possible, but Ethereum now can implement this burn function. So they burn some Ethereum to basically lower the circulation supply of the token. And Polkadot doesn't have this max supply too. And when I look at, let's say, Stellar, they have max supply. And Stellar has one function that I like, which is the stable fee linked to native token. And Cardano using this proof of stake. I don't look at the proof of, I forgot what proof they use for Stellar, but Cardano use proof of stake, and they do have maximum supply. I think it's 50 billion token. So when I studied that, then I thought if we build Selendra, we should have this fixed fee that tie to native token, and then max supply. And then when the network release, then the initial token supply would be decided, let's say 1 billion or 2 billion, and then let the inflation do its work using similar method like Polkadot or Ethereum, use inflation, but then have it cap at 3.14 billion or pi multiplied by 1 billion. That is the exact number. So this amount of token will be the cap. And then if we calculate it correctly, around 2.623% per year, it will take about 21 to 22 years from now. So given these 20 years, we will have enough time to build a community of developer, both the app layer and the core blockchain layer of Selendra, that could propose a different kind of or updated system where Selendra can improve in the core system to have max supply, but then still design a fee layer or tips where you can give tips to validator. So after 20 years, Selendra should also value a bit more, just the tips and the fee alone. And if Selendra can capture, let's say, 10 to 20 to 30 million user per day, they would transact at least 100 million time, 100 million transaction per day. 100 million transaction per day would translate to several thousand Selendra. That would be enough for validator. If it's like 10,000 validator, and then we generate like 100,000 Selendra token in fee, that could be enough as a reward for those node validator. That would be 20 years from now. So I thought if we design this system this way, then we have like 5 years to work to improve it. Right now we focus on just use case in Cambodia and use case elsewhere. If the use case in Cambodia work well, then can you use case elsewhere. So use case focus now is like in identity. We talk about decentralized, we talk about there's so many buzzwords in the blockchain space, but without identity, like clear design identity system, it's still messy.
Are you talking about like you are you, I am me?
Yeah, identity on the blockchain that could tie all of your activity online to your identity, including your asset, your internet footprint that can link to your data. Those data will link to this identity, and this identity would be the key for you to decide, yeah, I want to sell my data for the money. I want to transfer my token to this person or that token to that person. It's like basically create, I don't want to say, but let's say this, like create your own bank that has everything under your own sovereignty with the digital ID and digital signature. And this also not against the government, but work with the government, the authority, because they need to issue you ID. So this ID could tie to like government database or government blockchain database to your general wallet, because you need to work with like Ethereum, Polkadot, Bitcoin, many other chains. But if you have this one network that work with other people and also work with the government network, I think in my belief, there will be more blockchain running in the government all around the world, starting with central bank. Now central bank have their own central bank digital currency, and then after that maybe Ministry of Defense will use their blockchain. So more and more ministry will use, not just Cambodia but everyone else, every government too.
Have you looked into National Bank of Cambodia's blockchain, Bakong?
Yeah.
So what system are they using? Like,
as far as I know, since I checked a long time ago, it's Hyperledger Iroha.
what is that?
It's I believe built by contributed by the company that support Bakong from Japan, run by a guy named Mokoto. I think he's American, but like renowned his U.S. citizens and went to Japan and become a Japanese. And so this guy, I don't know much detail about it, but the company, I believe, built this Iroha, Hyperledger Iroha, and then submit to the Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation that inspire or use the Linux OS. Well, KOOMPI OS is the Linux also. So this Linux Foundation is a big foundation that support and promote open source software. So this Hyperledger Iroha is I think the backbone for Bakong blockchain. It's a private blockchain. I don't know much about it. I don't see much into the working.
What framework is it? Like Bitcoin's framework? It's like Ethereum's framework?
No, it's not Ethereum framework. I mean, it used the blockchain method. There are a few Hyperledger blockchain framework. It is for private blockchain.
Because I mean, with the banking stuff, all you need to do is send money, receive money, and keep track of that. So I'm thinking like it's probably just like a Bitcoin framework.
It's basically a private blockchain that has a permission blockchain that all the party involved would be the one that vote, and you and me cannot go in and vote in the blockchain space like that. But in the open blockchain, for example, like Ethereum, you can go and join the Ethereum node if you have a hardware to run. Even if you have a laptop to run, you can run Ethereum full node. You just don't get a chance to win Ethereum reward, because the chance that you win the reward will take a long time. If you run this laptop to run Bitcoin blockchain, you can run Bitcoin blockchain node, but you need like I think 200 gigabyte of space and some CPU and some GPU. But even all the GPU you have with this laptop, it will take you around 20 million years to get one block of Bitcoin right. There will be by the time you do that, Bitcoin already done. But with the Hyperledger Iroha, I don't know what consensus they use. In short, it is called private and permission blockchain. Party involved are the one who make sure the decision of the blockchain vote in the blockchains, or it's like a pseudo. You have this pseudo key to do something. Everyone else can use, but to govern the network, it needs some specific permission.
So that's one example of blockchaining in the government. What's one
of private? You can distinguish between there are two type, many type, but distinguish between two group, public and permissionless blockchain, and private and permission blockchain. The permissionless one Selendra is a permissionless one. You can download Selendra software on GitHub, and then you run Selendra node, and then you don't need any permission from anyone, as long as you can acquire a native token of cell up to 3,000 Selendra right now, 3,001 Selendra right now. You can then run a node. You can become a validator. You need to wait though for the vote of the consent, the council in there. But you can also vote yourself to be a council. It just takes some time. But in the permission blockchain, you can't vote yourself in there. You have to be nominated to be a node or give the key to be a node. In Bitcoin, you don't need that because it's just a proof of work. As long as you have enough computing power, you can run Bitcoin node. Then you know a little bit of the computer software and how to run the software. Then you can join the party. No one reject you. No one invite you. You invite yourself. Whether you have enough computing power to win the bet, to win the race or not, is another story. So in one way, permissions blockchain is like good, but in another way, permission blockchain is not as good, because then nobody can actually verify and join and then be part of the growing network. But in another way, system like Bitcoin, it is permissionless, but at the same time, you have to be in there to benefit. But you don't have to go in there to benefit. You can participate in the economic side of it. System like Ethereum, you don't have to participate in the node. Like I remember I run Ethereum node in 2016 with my PC. I had to put my PC next to the window like that because I don't have AC. And then I put a computer fan. If anyone go to that room, you don't hear yourself, you just hear the fan noise. But I still couldn't win Ethereum because I ran it from my PC.
Doing that in Cambodia. Cambodia is so hot. Trying to mine in Cambodia must be.
And I used Raspberry Pi at the time, Raspberry Pi 2B.
Oh, the small thing.
Yeah. I wish I have a picture. I think some of my friends went to that room and they take some picture. Yeah, but picture it's like this.
Yeah.
A small, a bit bigger than this, I think, a bit higher ceiling than this, and then we have a bunch of computer running and some Raspberry Pi. I wanted to do a SmallWorld radio similar to this with this Raspberry Pi 2.
So you were talking about tying identity with the blockchain. Can you talk more about that? Because I remember you mentioned something about like student IDs, a project where you would use Selendra to tie student IDs onto the blockchain. Can you go more into that project?
This is still an experiment. We are building a pilot now. I cannot give too much detail into this because it's not open yet. We are working with an institution. So the goal is that we build some sort of like a wallet, where this wallet is like your wallet that you hold ID. Imagine in a physical space, you have a physical wallet. Inside that you have maybe your ID, your driving license, your bank card, whatever that is. A bank card would give you access to money, and a driving license will give you the right to drive, and then a student ID will give you the right to maybe borrow a book in the library or go to study in a school that give access to that ID, and a citizen ID would give you access to, let's say, anything that the public government allow you to do, like walk into a museum or whatever, and then a passport. So in that wallet can have all of that. But we test with student ID first. So the goal is that this student ID could be signed up like a website, that in that or mobile app. In that they create similar to you create an email address or you create a Facebook account, and then after that you tie to government ID or you tie to the real physical student ID, that maybe that student ID linked to a SSL database that live in a server somewhere. So this app take the ID, the student ID that registers in this SSL server, then link it to hash it to Selendra blockchain in a parallel blockchain, and then give access to this mobile app to as a window to then use that hash as this, like verify this blockchain is verify that this hash is the hash information of this ID in this SSL server. Hopefully that this SSL server would be an IPFS, like a decentralized storage of the ID that is permanently like linked to you, represent you, and then this database is then have a hash of information that link to the blockchain, and at this stage then it linked to a mobile app, which a normal mobile app like a wallet system that can hold other things too. So this app now, the flow is that it will allow students to just scan. It's like ABA scans or other QR code scan a QR code of a website, then you log in. And now you have access and do the thing in the website, and everything that you do in the website should tie to this ID. Yeah. Although the website will have their own database that link to their server, but whatever the activity that these students or me or you do that hold this ID could then use the website, like you log in using Facebook. Yeah. But this ID hopefully can log into other website. At the same time, the ID would link to, let's say, a bank card of the physical wallet. Yeah. So it linked to the crypto asset. Like someone can send you Robin in Cambodia, Selendra chain, like an email address. Yeah. But not as an email address, like Robin in Cambodia. If that is you, and linked to this particular address, then it would take some time, but they should be able to send Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever asset to that name, and then link to your address and link to your ID, and then you hold the coin. Or even the bank. In the future, if all banks using blockchain, if Bakong open for some connections, then I believe that it is possible to then allow Bakong coin or Khmer Real token that is running on Bakong to be stored on that ID too. On that wallet too.
I see a big use case for it. For example, when using MetaMask to go onto OpenSea, it verifies it by saying sign, right? Yeah. You sign this, and then it verifies your balance. It does all this. But the other use case I see is like, you know how on every website now you can say log in with Google. Yeah. What if Google shuts down or shuts you down, right? You don't own that account. You don't own your identity. Yeah. You don't really own your identity. Yeah. So when you put the identity in your own hands with a seed phrase, then you can go anywhere and be like, that's me. You can't take it away. Yeah. And in that identity, like you said, you have your wallet ID, this and that. Yeah. So I like that. Yeah. Very cool.
You can eventually, walk into an airport and just show your face, and you can go to fly. Yeah. That will be the world we live in, I think, 10, 20 years from now. Or you can just show the Elon Musk talk about these chips and all of that, right?
The RFID. Have a RFID scanner that scans like.
I hope not. I hope I don't have to go there. But let's say you walk and hold a smartphone or a small device that link that connect to the internet, and this device is actually everything about the ID to you. A QR code recognition that it's like an NFT. Everyone now talk about NFT. But think about like a tattoo on your body is your NFT of your ID, and then when you show that into a scanner, you can log in. Yeah. You don't have to do the chip. If you tie the because image recognition computer is very smart. You can just have a specific tattoo to log in to anything.
Cool.
That link to your ID.
I also see another use case where, like, you know how people scalp the market. Let's say like Bottom A Productions has a Vanda concert. Yeah. But people buy 1,000 tickets, and it says you can only buy one, right? Yeah. But you can bought it. You can use
and then auction the ticket.
But if you have an identity, one like this is Robin buying the token. I'm buying the ticket, and then Robin is this and that. So yeah, you can verify one ticket to one person versus one person buying 1,000 being like, I'm gonna sell it at a higher price.
Yeah, yeah.
So it puts the power into the people's hands.
Yeah, people don't really like that phrase very much.
Put the power into people's hands.
In 2016, I created a coin or a token as an experiment called peer power. It was the idea of like a 600 million population of people in ASEAN should have one peer power tokens, and there was like I created one on Ethereum and one on Wave blockchain. I was like, this isn't a good experiment. But then I used I used almost half a Bitcoin to actually try to share the token. And I think a lot of people do that too. I don't know why I talk about that.
Interesting. You were talking about artificial intelligence, or like being computers are able to scan stuff, and that reminded me of a thought where you were talking about using drones to scan land, because we were talking about Ben Davis.
Yeah.
So that will tie into now VitaminAir. Now VitaminAir and Selendra have something going on between each other, right?
Yeah.
Can you go more into that?
Yeah. So when people read a bit about me, they might think that I'm like doing things all over the place. But I try to build a circle. I believe in a bicycle philosophy. Like in order to ride a bicycle, the wheel of the bike had to be round. You cannot ride a bike that is square. A seat can be square, everything else can be square, but the wheel had to be round. So the business or the project that we are building has to support each other. For example, before we go to VitaminAir, KOOMPI developed an OS, an operating system. These operating systems is working to support blockchain software, because blockchain has to run on in a computer system, and even blockchain as a blockchain system or blockchain OS, it has to run on an OS somewhere as a computer. So this is KOOMPI, then supports Selendra, and then VitaminAir has a piece of land about 100 kilometers from Phnom Penh. This initial idea was to see if we can tokenize natural resources to the blockchain, and also tokenize physical asset, which is land, into the blockchain, and then democratize the ownership of the land while using that tokenization to raise enough fund to develop the land or acquire more land. Because the goal of VitaminAir is to do a pilot, reforestation pilot, and not to live in nature alone, but to live with nature. You can live in nature, but not with nature. But if we have an intention to live in nature with nature, then we act different. Our intention in nature is different. So the goal at VitaminAir is to develop build a community, create a community of people has knowledge in technology, digital marketing, everything about modern world, but try to live in nature with nature. A lot of people want to live in nature, but against nature completely. And we want to live in nature by helping and working with nature. It's a very hard task. I'm not saying that we will achieve it, but we are testing and do it, and hopefully we can be the test case. If we fail, we could be a very good test case for other new or next generation innovator to come and build a better system, a better process to work with nature. So with VitaminAir, we are now exploring a drone. It's still very early. We are exploring a drone, and based on the roadmap, it should be able to fly with we have a quad, what is the English name? With a 4-wing.
Quadcopter?
Yeah, quadcopter type. But my dreams and my plans, and we discussed within the team, is to build a 3-wing like an airplane, because quadcopter is power consumption hungry, like power hungry machine. You need to have all 4 wing turn in order to fly. But with an airplane type, you only need 1 wing to fly forward, and you just need to navigate. to go up, like vertical landing or vertical takeoff, you need 3 wings, 2 wings in the front and 1 wing in the back. So this wing can just fly to take off, turn to take off, and turn to land. But then while flying, it only relies on 1 wing, and it use the I don't know what the term in the aviation. It's like you use a big wing like the bird. When you go forward, this wing could work with the wind so that it can fly. So the next stage after the quadcopter, flying and navigate correctly, build firmware correctly, then it could fly, and then we shift from four what do you call it? 4 wing.
4 propeller.
Yeah, 4 propeller, 2 wing to fly, 3 to take off, and then 1 wing. So hopefully this year we can achieve this task, and then we use the computer vision to scan, let's say, to monitor 100 hectares of land. One drone could fly regular fly, but random hour. In order to the reason is that in order to avoid the forest, if you do regular fly at regular hour of the day, then if anyone want to, let's say, cut the trees in that forest, they would recognize the patterns of the flight, and then they would go and cut whenever the drone doesn't fly. But if we do a regular fly every day but random hour, then people will be very scared. It's unexpected. So that is the fly, and then the scan would be scanning forest, counting tree and tree leaf, and then understanding the moisture, carbons emissions, and then absorptions of the area. And hopefully we can capture enough data to work in the carbon credit market. But this is a very small project compared to a bigger one, like Cambodia still have 41% of the land covered by forest. No human capable of managing it well. I'm not saying that the government do not know how to manage it. No one in the world know how to manage it well. But if we develop a technology where we can then capture informations and do even live stream informations, and then report whenever the abnormal activity in a particular area, and link to a map, so that rescues or ranger can go directly to the location, and it can also capture picture and send it to let's say server streams or even Twitter stream to do that. It's a complicated system. It's difficult to achieve, but with enough resources and enough engineer, we will be able to do. Right now, we have only 1 engineer and 1 assistant, and I fund it on a side way, so it's not fully yet in operation. But at least the plan is to fly the quadcopter in June.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, VitaminAir, when did that come along? Did you start your SmallWorld venture micro? Okay.
So I started SmallWorld in 2011, and then I love nature. I love to go like one week or 2 every month. At one point, I couldn't go out of SmallWorld because I have to run SmallWorld. So I built a forest, like I grow small forest in a pot inside SmallWorld, and then I camp in between, and I felt.
Wait, what? In a pot?
Yeah, there's a lot of pot. You can buy pot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pieng tui.
Oh, the clay pot, like
yeah,
this.
the clay pot. Yeah, like this, but tom.
Yeah.
And then you grow some other trees.
Oh, you made like a circle around?
Yeah, make a circle around it, and then I would put my tent in. Luckily, at SmallWorld 1, we had bigger space and mango trees and all that. But then I like to feel like a forest, so I sleep in there. But then while sleeping in there, it's like, why make an artificial forest when we can have a mountain? So then in 2015, 14, 15, I started to go to Kampot very often, like once every month minimum. And then explore Kampot. And then I thought, okay, I want to buy a piece of land in this mountain, like between Kampot and Kaib. And then I spent about a year and a half to go there every month. The more I go there, the more I like every month do not see very much, but then looking at my picture for the first month, and then the 12 month after, I see the mountain get clearer and clearer without forest. Like the mountain is getting bald. It's like someone old that is like run out of hair.
Yeah.
So I realized that if I buy a place in this mountain, then there's no way I have, like if I buy a piece of land, let's say 1 hectare of land there, then it will be just gonna be like small world, but you have mountain, just no tree. So then I had an idea in 2015 that I want to reforest the mountain, but it has to be starting from my personal ownership of land first, because I cannot just like grow on anyone's land. Right. Cannot even grow on a public land because it would take 10 years to grow the tree. So then I started to think about buying bigger land, like 10 hectares. And then that was 2015, 2016. And then around 2016, there was a guy from Taiwan linked through Bong Sila at Sabai that he want to meet me and understand what I do. And then he looked at my wish list, what like SmallWorld want to do. It's like my business plan on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
It has blockchains, it has OS, it has jungle office. That was my wish in 2015.
Jungle office.
Yeah, and I said jungle office, and so he want to work with me, and then somehow we start to collaborate, and he bought a stake at SmallWorld, and he said, if you bought a stake at SmallWorld, that was 2016. Then I don't think you will make your money back, but if you give me an extra loan to buy this piece of land, we build a jungle office. If SmallWorld go bankrupt, I could sell the land and give back your money. And surprisingly, he said yes. And I had no idea where the land I should buy. I just know I want to buy some land. And so that was the beginning, around 2015, 2016. But we only exceed the land buying end of 2017. So we bought the land. But then the process is not done yet until now, because it's my first time ever to buy a piece of land, and we bought big land.
Yeah. So how many? 100 hectares or 30
Yeah,
hectares?
the contract is 110 hectare. But we now can only like transfer. It's complicated. Like I didn't know how complicated it was to buy a big piece of land or to buy a piece of land in general. So it gave me another problem to solve, which is like the title or the link to the IDs, and also this land tokenization. So if we do land tokenization, then like I would never buy a piece of land, but I would buy a piece of stake of the lands if I have some friend that live there and own the land and do good thing with the land, or do whatever that I trust them in the land, or an organization that have a public proof of what they do in the land. Then we can buy a piece of land, like buying a piece of a company in America, like stock. So then it linked to this Selendra land tokenization, so VitaminAir land tokenization supported by Selendra blockchain. Yeah, it's sort of linked without a plan. Yeah. It somehow build up, and then it get clearer and clearer. It will interlink and it's interdependent on each other.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like, how can you once again prove that the land is there? Like, if I'm an investor from America and I want a piece of VitaminAir, the only way I can check it out is if I go there with my own eyes every so many months, be like, okay, my land is there. It is good. It has a tree. But if you
allow the drone to fly remotely, you can fly and see your land.
Can live stream it. Yeah, that's my daily photo of it. And what better opportunity than VitaminAir, where you're going to build a tech. What do you plan to do for the tech building?
I don't know yet. But right now we have just residential home.
It's not like the wooden houses kind of thing?
Yeah, like mini home, mini A-frame house. We are experimenting with different kind of design in the forest, in the trees, and try to build among the tree. Just cut small roots and vine that would slow down the growth of the taller tree. Not the whole mountain, but a small area. So we build a few houses and put some tents, some house, like a livable place first, and then an office. We'll think more later, because right now we can live and work at the house. Yeah, you can come.
Thanks.
My house just done.
Nice. When do you plan to have it done? Like, when can people start visiting? Or
now people can start visiting. Yeah, and we are planning to grow some bamboo, and hopefully have some bamboo building in the next 5 years or so.
Nice.
We grow like a bamboo forest that hopefully have a bamboo factory in there, so that we can produce different components, different material from fast growing grass like bamboo, that allow us not to touch the long-term forest, because the goal of VitaminAir is, the main goal is reforestation and preserve what's left, and let it grow. So we have to subsidize it with something that grow fast, and use it to its maximum capacity, with technology, with engineering, that would allow us to use bamboo in replacement for many things except steels and cements.
Have you noticed progress on the deforestation? So once you bought it, was deforestation still happening after you bought it?
Oh yeah. After we bought it, it became worse.
Yeah.
But I didn't know because we were the first among the first people that go to buy the land and actually bought the land. I didn't know, because it's my first time ever to buy a piece of land. I didn't know how to buy the land. I didn't know what impact that would generate to the local people there. So people thought that they would cut more land, they cut trees and then claim to be their land. But even if I don't buy the land, they would cut it. We didn't buy the land that they cut.
Right.
But we bought the land already, and then more people would pushing the land price to go up, and they thought they would sell more to me, and they thought I have a lot of money. But I said I only have this much to buy this land. So fast forward 2 years after we bought, 2.5 years after I bought, we went there. My brother went there with my mentor to look for our land, like where is our land, like 100 hectares, where exactly is that? So we couldn't really figure out which one is exactly our land. But what they discovered was that people were cutting forests on a mass scale, like 30 hectares of land, clear cut, burn, and we had to. I didn't know what to do, but my mentor went there and be like stop cutting the tree. And
your mentor from Taiwan, or
no, from America, and my brother was there too. And so it took us almost a year to basically tell them that this is our land, don't touch. At least don't touch this land. So the 2020, it was like orange every now and then in the whole 1.5 to 2 kilometers spans of the mountain was just like burn. This year, 2021, last year 2021, it was green. This year is green. So at least the land that we stop or we hold, and the public land behind our land is now green. We don't do very much. We just have drone flying whenever they go up there. So if the drone fly, they go up there. It's not automatic yet. It's like we have some worker or staff that from the village. Whenever people go there and aim to catch wild animal like wild pig and other thing, if they put anything up there, when they go up, whenever they like leave their home to go up the mountain, the drone fly above their head a few times. Now they don't go there.
Was the drone operated or?
It's manually operated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not we bought from DJI and we want to learn from DJI what feature we want, what feature we don't want, what feature costly, what feature would save us money.
When you bought the land, were there already people living on it?
There was like 4 or 5 family living on it on a small compact area. Then we swapped land for them. And the rest was just forest and rice field, but small rice field and 1 mango farm, like 3 hectares.
Wow.
And the rest just forest. The goal of VitaminAir is to keep up to 70% forest, and the rest is residential productivity land.
Have you got electricity and internet over there yet?
Yep.
Nice.
We use all solar.
Solar.
Yeah.
So you don't have any like
No wire, no cable,
wow.
no grid.
Tell me more about that. Like, what system do you have? How many?
We bought 10 industrial grade solar divided into 2 locations.
How many watts per panel?
450 watt, I think. So 8 panel is at the bigger location, like space that people hang out more, and 2 panels with 2 battery that produce, I think, 3 kilowatt. The other one produce a balance of 5 kilowatt. I mean, it's more, but we I think we use enough now with that watt hour that we have. Once in a while, we run out of power at like for several hours, but we learn how to manage and learn how to amplify the power we have, and then learn electricity. Now my brother and I learned a bit more about electrical engineering and solar setup and all of that.
Did you get into solar before your electric bike journey, or was your electric bike journey
After.
After?
Solar after.
Okay. What kind of battery? Lithium
It's
or?
not lithium. Lithium is expensive. We use cell battery.
Have you heard about lithium titanate batteries?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. I don't study very much about battery right now because there's so much to do in the blockchain space. But I follow up. I mean, I read the headline and just keep myself informed.
Yeah. So yeah, you are involved in a lot of things. Where did the Groot? Where did Groot come into play in all of this?
Groot not yet really active in playing. I now focus on majority of my time in KOOMPI, Selendra, and VitaminAir. Groot is actually a shared dream of mine and my friends, Visna. And we just like do it for fun and see how it goes. It's doing pretty well. And I don't know very much about the operation, but he's doing it pretty well.
Yeah. My friend Dr. G just bought one for his
really?
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ride normally not with the power, but in Phnom Penh before, when I can ride bicycle more often for meeting, I ride with Groot battery and Groot motor. Yeah. But Groot someday maybe can do a ride to earn. Like you ride around Phnom Penh, you ride to work, you ride to market, and then you earn some token.
For being carbon friendly.
Yeah, carbon friendly.
Yeah.
And then how that earn will be rewards, I have no idea yet, but could be the process go to the right to earn. And learn to earn, dream to earn.
The learn to earn is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Being paid in Selendra to learn to code. You know?
Yeah.
There's some people that want to learn to code
Mm-hmm.
just out of their curiosity.
Yeah.
And there's some that don't want to, but if you tell them that you can make money from just learning, they get introduced to it,
Yeah.
and then they're like, damn, look at the power of that.
We just talked to this startup called eSchool. They have more than more than a million downloads and about 500,000 active learner. And we see that, Selendra might not be successful, but might be to some extent. If it is successful, then if the student learn everyday subjects and then they earn some Selendra after they completed their course and then take some test. If they pass the test, they earn X amount of Selendra as a reward to them, and they can use that for their maybe tuition fee in the future. So these are like 500,000 students that we discuss with them, and all they do is to just integrate wallet support into their app, and the student can receive token after they completed the course.
Cool. Let's talk more about. We're gonna wrap it up in a bit, but let's talk about where can people get Selendra tokens, investing, and all that.
Yeah. So right now, Selendra is not in the market, open market or exchange. We could go to PancakeSwap or BitRateSwap, even BitRateSwap and Uniswap and all of that. But we are delaying this a bit more by what we want to do is to we reserve X amounts of Selendra. If you read the paper, the new update is 8% only, 8.5%, and we did small like 0.38% for private sales and the rest for public sale. We're also going to do auction, so we will auctions up to 20 million sell in this month, actually in April. This auction will allow people to buy a minimum of $10 to $100 with one address. So they can buy more, but they need to create different address. The reason we do that is that we don't want people to own too much Selendra for one person to then dump when Selendra go to the open market. So this is one way to receive Selendra. The other way to receive Selendra is to wait for airdrop, which is around the official airdrop, and then there are partnership airdrop. So official airdrop is happening around every 1.5 million block of Selendra. Right now, Selendra mainnet reaching at 800,000 block. So about a month from now, I think early May, Selendra will be reaching 1.5 million block, and then there will be an announcement how to receive Selendra token. The airdrop will be roughly between 50 to 100 Selendra, with the current worth of around like $3 USD dollar. And then partner airdrop, for example, working with you to then airdrop to all your fans between 50 to 100 token if they let's say they receive they create an account on BitReal wallet. BitReal wallet will be released very soon, the update, so that it's easier to use. And then they receive that without any time locks. That airdrop, they can take it to stake right away. But to stake or to nominate, they have to have at least 300 Selendra. So they either keep collecting Selendra, or they either buy at a discount or giving premium price to their peer, and to collect up to 300 Selendra and then start to stake. Yeah. And then the futures, which is sometime this year, there will be listing Selendra list on an exchange. There might be one or two centralized exchanges, and then one or two decentralized exchanges, possibly PancakeSwap and BitRateSwap.
Nice. And BitRateSwap is your own?
BitRateSwap is the native decentralized exchange running on Selendra blockchain, but also support Binance Smart Chains and support Ethereum network. But as all decentralized exchange problem, they all face different problem, and one big problem is liquidity. So we need to find a way to provide liquidity to liquidity provider by incentivizing Selendra, maybe a governance token of BitRateSwap, which is BTR. So BitReal will have its own token for governing the exchange, and take fee from the exchange. But this is coming maybe mid this year, June, July, or August. Yeah.
Nice.
So this is the way to receive Selendra now.
All right. Stay tuned, everybody.
The best way is to receive Selendra for free.
Yes.
Don't spend the money.
Exactly. There's a lot more to Rithy, but this is all for today's podcast. If you want to check out more about Rithy, there's one other podcast I would recommend you go to. It's by Rising Giants. And in that podcast, it really goes into Rithy's history of where you came from an island and you left that island to
Never return.
Yeah. But you were the odd one, like technology. I'm going, boom. You learned on your own?
I did not want to become a technologist. I wanted to become a businessman.
A mathematician?
Yeah, but early on, I thought I wanted to become a mathematician and physician because I was inspired by like scholar from Germany and Isaac Newton. Yeah. But then afterward, I recalled that I just want to be free. And to be free in our today's world is to be a businessman, like investing in real estate, investing in this, investing in that. So then I start learning how to invest by giving money to my friends in the village, like 20,000 real, 30,000 real, 50,000 real to raise chicken, to grow cabbage, to do whatever they think they can do. And then if they make money, they give me money back plus some share profit. I never make any money back. It's all gone.
It's all trust. And did you rip me off?
No, they didn't rip me off. They just didn't put enough effort in making things happen. That's how I learned from investing, and have to really look at the person, not the idea. Yeah. But then after we look at the person, we look at the idea. Because if the person is right, but then the idea is crap, then you cannot make anything too.
So we're gonna do some. We're gonna wrap it up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rithy, so
Thank
much
you very
for
much.
joining the first podcast.
Yeah.
Please, if you want to work with Rithy, partner up with Rithy.
Then work with Robin.
I'm in talks with Rithy, doing a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
a lot of interesting projects coming up in Cambodia because of Rithy. So once again, thank you.
Not because of the team.
Because of the team.
I am alone will be like crap. I can't do much. All I do now is just talk. So I feel bad. So I want to go back and actually help with some work.
Who would you like to see on this podcast in your team? Who do you think is a good candidate? Like, this guy would have a lot of good stories.
There's an interesting guy right now. He is in Kokong.
Are you talking about the coder?
Yeah. He doesn't care about the world, but I want to see if he is on a podcast what he would talk about.
Invite him.
I'm planning to go visit him because he doesn't come to visit me. So yeah, we'll be go to Kokong after Khmer New Year. And then there's a kid that has been working with me. He has seen me and the history, basically the history play ever since in 2015. He was a first year IT student that come to SmallWorld. Now he's lead web and Web3 lead at KOOMPI. His name is Vuti. And another guy is the OS lead that is leading and building. He has crazy idea. Sometimes I dismiss his idea and I feel bad because I come back and I, wow, actually that idea was great. So he has I don't say stupid, but he has a crazy idea. I have to reanalyze and digest the idea in order to see it's really good. Very deep knowledge into technology, study English, a bunch of other people. The lady here, I was asking her, what hope does he has in KOOMPI and in SmallWorld in general? Because we does a lot of thing that doesn't seem to return profit right away. And what hope or what value does he see in the end? Why does he work all the time? Most of the people at SmallWorld or under SmallWorld or umbrella company, they work on their own and they work based on what the ideas given to them. They they summon the team, and then they plan the task, and they do the work. What I believe, I'm not sure if they have, is that the common goal to reach somewhere, like, okay, what KOOMPI is trying to achieve is to empower the next generations of engineer entrepreneur through providing tools, and these tools are KOOMPI OS and the laptops and maybe the desktop and all of that. So I'm trying to understand why they are like struggling with me, because they don't get a lot of money, like in terms of salary. It's like very low paid.
Yeah.
Why are they like working so hard? That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I talk to them like one by one sometimes.
Like, why are you working so hard for little money?
Yeah.
Tell me. What am I doing?
What do you see? What do you see in this?
What do you see that I do not see? I mean, you must have like a clear vision that just like you don't think it yourself, but you just like what you
I want
do
to
is
see what
vision.
I want to see what they see so that we can combine the vision. So I'm talking to different people in the team to see and how we can combine this. Yeah.
Can you go into the empoweringness of a laptop? You know, you get one of your KOOMPI laptops for an affordable price, and you slap it in front of a kid who knows nothing about computers, who's never heard about a computer. Have you ever had any of those stories before, where you go into like the village and you're like, this is computer?
We don't do that yet. I hope someday to do. I hope some people do. But some people bought KOOMPI and then just give it to kids in the village. We have to talk to them and see what they learn. The empowerment part it's more about my own hypothesis. I have not concluded the result yet. My own hypothesis, I come from an island. I never touched a computer for the first 17 years of my life. The first time I touched a mouse, this kind of mouse, my hand was shake. I couldn't really do anything. And then my friend said, your hand is shaking. I said, I know. Because he used computer before me. But we signed up to a course the same time. He used different computer before me. We learned how to type, like typing skill. I'm very bad with typing and all of that. I was not interested in like doing Word, Excel and those things. All I wanted to do was internet, like click an internet Explorer icon. At the time they used Windows or Firefox. So they use internet. But at the time, not every computer connected to the internet. So we signed up for Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. 40 hours. I believe I learned about 10 hours maximum how to type. I couldn't even make a document. My friend did all of that. I had to copy his things and do on my page. But what I was trying to do was to click on the Internet Explorer. So later on, they free 10 hours of internet. That was like the eye-opening. I clicked the Internet Explorer for the first time and it worked. Like I clicked many times, but it didn't work. But that first time, click and it worked. And then one of the teacher there. Now, I just discovered that he's my teacher. He worked at Ministry of Telecoms at the CAT. It used to be NIPTIC. He used to teach. He used to work at ITC, and I talked to him many times, but I didn't know that it was him. His face familiar, but I only discovered about last year that he was my teacher. He introduced internet for 10 hours to me. And so he one thing he said that really captured my thought was that you can make a call and see each other's face. That was like, that's it. I want to do that. So I went to every internet cafe and learned how to make a call. They have free call, and then a test Skype. The Skype it has a test. You can test Skype and it call. It say it to you, and you can see yourself in picture if they have a camera. That was the beginning. It was 2015. 2005, and I started to learn how to crack people's password and cookie on internet cafe on their like browsers and Skype cookie. and start to steal their credit. That was like a lot of things. Yeah. So that was like 2015, 2006. And then I didn't have anyone to call except my friend at the pagoda. So I would type up their number because Skype allow you to call to regular number. Then I can call a regular number, and it's pick up and it's shown 001, 007, 009, 008, and I pretend like somebody to call them, somebody that called them from outside. So that was my way to use. And sometimes I call my parent to save my credit from like cell cards, or at the time hello 011. Yeah. So yeah, and with all of this, it giving me the power to navigate my life using technology, using computer. Fast forward from there, I was introduced to Linux, the operating system that now become KOOMPI OS. Linux was very powerful. I had a picture. I will send you a picture in 2009. April the 2nd, today.
Hey, yeah.
I was sitting about, I have a picture I can show you.
Damn, today.
2009. Google just showed me this.
13 years ago.
This was me. Late at night in 2009.
That's right there.
No, you can't see. I will send you the picture. In 2009, normally it's my late night, so I work as a volunteer in that organization called PEPI, and then some time from after they invite me to work there as a staff member, but I work 3 weeks a month, and then within that I would explore and do real estate consulting here and there. Whenever I go to Siem Reap, I would work in this office when nobody work, and just explore like research paper, ebooks, just download any kind of books, PDF. At the time, I don't think there's ebook. I think it was just PDF and research paper. And then exploring different website, WordPress, e-commerce, new e-commerce site like Magento, I forgot the name. Different website, and I try to run my own classified ad website called Pro Cambodia, and run all of those free software, open source software, and read the paper. And accidentally, I was stumbled upon the Bitcoin thing, and then run the Bitcoin early, I think mid 2010, and it's crashed my computer.
It broke your hard drive.
Yeah, broke my hard drive. So this is the beginning, like on how I got into this open source more deeply, because this place was it's an NGO, but they have the very fast internet compared to everyone in Siem Reap. Almost everywhere in Cambodia, they had very fast internet. They installed the fastest internet possible because they work with a lot of American.
Nice.
And so at night nobody work, so I just unplug the cable, the Ethernet, and then plug to my computer, and just like that is mine. At between 9 to 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's my time to work there.
Was that time just like you exploring, or did you have like a goal?
Exploring.
You're like, I want to find out this, or like?
I had one goal. I want to build my own website, but I was distracted by so many open source software that was presenting to me at the time, and I was interested in books and video lectures, TED Talk, and just like watching video while reading a paper. And some of the paper was introducing about like economics, some people talking about, I never interested in reading books, like economic book, I never interested, but research paper that has like 20 pages, 30 pages, 100 pages that explain very concise about one type of subject. I was really into that. So read those paper, and then read about money stuff. Read because I want to be wealthy, because I have been poor. That was my goal back then. Now I want to be more happy like before. So back then, because you don't have money, you want more money, and to get more money, you have to understand what is money and how to get money, and like either to be a slave of the work or to like be smart. And so I had to learn all of that using the technology, and that's back to like 10 years after. I thought, if we give the computer with the internet, faster computer, more friendly user interface, and powered by open source, if the student has the intrinsic interest to learn the computer, they would learn. Give them 5 years, they would be a genius in something. And I don't know what they will become, but if they will learn how to code, learn how to search particular knowledge, they will receive it. And with that tool, it's like the magic in their finger, like the magic wand in their hand. Yeah. It's that's what I believe. I don't know how it's gonna be like, but I can't promise. When people use KOOMPI, they become genius. But if they use the computer, they use KOOMPI with the open source, they will run into trouble. And if they run into trouble, they have the intrinsic interest to then overcome the trouble by using the internet. That's what I did. Yeah. And like, for example, no Wi-Fi, I go and get Wi-Fi for free.
Can you go into, since you're talking about Wi-Fi, let's talk about KOOMPI Fi-Fi. Fi-Fi or Wi-Fi?
Fi-Fi.
Fi-Fi.
Cambodian cannot say Wi-Fi. I mean, the rural area, old people or older generation cannot say Wi-Fi. They say Fi-Fi.
Fi-Fi. Okay.
So we say, we written KOOMPI Fi-Fi.
We were talking about it briefly at David's place, Carolina Barbecue. But to my understanding, it's a mesh network.
Yeah.
But first you need to get one internet.
Yeah.
And then from that, you run the Fi-Fi app from your phone. And when I have it, it will automatically go to anybody else with a Fi-Fi app in the range, and they will have internet from there.
It won't work like that. It work more like a hotspot that powered by a few or several access points. And that access point will be a mesh net, like mesh together to provide the internet. Still work with one uplink to go to the international internet, or like connect to local internet in Cambodia, and then local internet in Cambodia connect to every other computer. But then our telephone or smartphone or computer will connect, if it is the Fi-Fi area here, then you connect to Fi-Fi signal, and then you sign up to subscribe. Then you're welcome to use KOOMPI Fi-Fi. When you use KOOMPI Fi-Fi, there are some apps that will be not now, that will allow you to download some content for storing offline browsing, so that you don't need internet for the next time you use the content or read the content. But with the KOOMPI Fi-Fi in the local area, we aim to bring in local content service, so that this content service will cache some of the content or preloaded some content that will be useful, or most of us want to use, except this social content like Facebook, YouTube content, which already cached in Cambodia through smart cell cards or other company. So we cache some website, for example, Wikipedia Khmer, Wikipedia English, and other resource that are good for students to learn and people to know. Then those content can be preloaded in the area, so that when they want to search or read the content, it's already there. They don't have to use the bandwidth to go to Phnom Penh or go to America or server or Singapore server.
Interesting. And also it ties into Selendra somehow, right?
Yeah. It tied to Selendra somehow. It will use Selendra stable coin base, or like Khmer real equivalent base, to buy in the internet. And it will cost somewhere between 5,000 Riyal to 10,000 Riyal per month. the goal is to bring down that price so that more people will have access to internet more freely. It's unlimited. So and the content is there so that they can download the content into their brain more freely.
Download the content into their brain?
Yeah, this is the process of what we learn, right?
Yeah.
You read, you remember, or you read, you don't remember, but someday you recover. You recover the content back, and the knowledge is there. Yeah.
So you mentioned stablecoin. Let's talk about Terra Luna for a bit.
Yeah.
What do you think about their recent announcement of the Bitcoin backed?
I think it's very interesting. To me, Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum will serve as Bitcoin will serve as digital gold, and Ethereum, all Litecoin before, will serve like digital silver. And real and money, valuable money, other asset. For example, Selendra could be compared to, let's say, grains of rice, or maybe gasoline or oil. Ethereum can be compared to oil also. I mean, they always compare to oil. For Terra, they use this algorithmic method, to burn Terra Luna token or unstable token to make UST, and then while Luna is also increased in supply with the nominator and validator to that validator block, and then making more Luna. But UST as a stable coin doesn't produce more by doing so, but only produce and made by burning Luna to make UST at a $1 to 1, and then a little bit of a margin for those traders to stabilize the price of the UST. The method is good for they call bull market, but then it's not so good when it's bear market. It could trigger the downward spiral or the death spiral. So the Luna community or the people in the Luna Foundation propose that they have Bitcoin or acquire Bitcoin around $1 billion to then use as not collateral, not the back. It's the price hedge. If Luna goes to 98 cents per, if UST go to 98 cents per dollar, then 98 cents per USD. Sorry, then people are incentivized to then buy Bitcoin at that price, so that it's create more people to then buy whole UST or get our UST, go to Bitcoin, and relieve the pressure on Luna token. If everyone sell UST, burn UST for Luna, and then sell Luna, and then the whole thing will go downward spiral. But then if people have two channels, like some can go to Luna, some can go to Bitcoin directly, then this back is a price absorptions that will stabilize Luna. If they have that, I think they will stabilize, and it could be a very interesting model and way to do to make UST more widespread. Although they still use, when I say widespread, it's still used among crypto traders and stakers and those who actually, I test some too, swap USDT or BUSD or USD to get UST and then lock, make UST almost impossible to be acquired in the market. So that means the more people want UST, the more price demand for that, and the more UST go up in price, the more people want to burn Luna for UST and then maybe get Bitcoin. It's a scheme that is quite interesting. I don't know how much they can hold, but if it work out, it's gonna be the new stepping stone that will bring more value from the real world we know to crypto. Yeah,
Locking it in permanently.
Yeah, and they give a lot of high interest, so that mean like
20%,
19 point something %. Yeah, and you can do this leverage, which is crazy. I don't want to go too much into that, but this leverage is crazy. You can go up to like 150%. return on investment per year in APY.
Do you see a system like that working with Selendra, or implementing something like that for Selendra?
We are studying about it. What we're looking at is to use at the initial stage of Selendra to use stable coin to then back our stable coin 80-20%. We'll use maybe Selendra and Bitcoin 20%, because the in the upward trends, in the long-term trends, Bitcoins and some crypto will go up in price compared to US dollar, because US dollar is an inflationary currency, we all know, and many other currency also, fiat currency, inflationary currency. If we have a stable coin that will make value that tie to, let's say, US dollar or Khmer Rial, then 80% of the back, the collateral, the deposit back, this currency would be would be 100%. Let's say 100% in stablecoin, DAIs or USD and whatever, and then 20% will be in crypto like Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin will go up in price. We use as a back, and then as a liquidity back for our stablecoin. This way, it will be more liquidable for people that want to take back their, like burn, let's say, Selendra stablecoin to get other stablecoin or cash out in dollar. We have to establish a peer-to-peer market where people can take the stablecoin based on Selendra and then give dollar to them, and with some reward, some margin, and this will, I think, make more demands or more interest to come into our ecosystem. And the reason we want to have our own stablecoin in Selendra, when I say our, it's not mine, but it's like community stablecoin that run on Selendra, it'll be making better use case, more easier use case in the Selendra ecosystem. We will pack some USDT also in Selendra.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pack or wrap. Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of things. We can talk more later.
Yes.
I don't want to steal more of the
It
time.
is lunchtime now. All right.
Hungry.
Once again, thank you again, Rithy Thul, for joining the podcast.
Thank you.
I will see you again for a part 2 later on.
After this.
After this, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Jamibili, everybody.
Yeah.
If you like what you see, please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys next time.